Hey everyone, Tony from Bikeberry here. It's good to see you. I have a very special surprise for you today. My man Keegan Hache is going to show you how he makes his bicycle panels for his motorized bike. So these are the cover panels around the engine and all of that, and here's some pictures of it. Check it out. But he's going to show you his entire process, how he makes the template, how he decides what to do with it, where to cut it, transfer that to the steel and all of that, how to mount it properly on your frame and everything. So enjoy this.
Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be showing how to make your own side panels for your motorized bike. You're not going to need many tools for this project, and it's going to be really easy to do. Today's going to be a step-by-step process. Let's get started. Alright, so now I'm going to be showing you what panel design I'm going to go with and why. So you can see right here there's a piece of tape on my frame, and the reason I had to do that is because this tank cover ideally was supposed to tie in with this panel. That way I could just bolt it on there and it would be rigid. Well, obviously I don't have them on right now, so this is just to protect the paint. But back to the main part. So you can see this body panel is a really good design, and I'll throw up a picture right here. You can actually get a normal design, kind of like what my Harley has, or some of my other bikes run, which is just kind of more of a straight design. But this one has a curve for the carburetor, and it also has a slit in it for the clutch arm. Now obviously this frame is a little bit different, so I probably won't have to do the clutch slit, but you guys get the point. So basically, that's going to cover there, and I'm going to come up with a different design so that this ties in with this with a self-tapper screw, and then we'll have our two holes down here. So it's going to be the same shape as this, but different mounting holes. Okay guys, so as you can see, we went ahead and got the cardboard cutout onto the mountain bike frame, and I gotta say, it fits pretty nice. You can see right here, this line lines up with the seat stay. Down at the top tube, we can tell that this needs to be a little bit higher so that this goes flush with the tank cover. But besides those two things, there's some other things we can work on. This, we're going to go ahead and cut a 1/2 inch off so that it goes flush with our chain guard. And I'm all about aesthetics, so I want to make this look best as possible. So right here, we're going to have to cut off a little piece. And I don't want to just cut that one area because I think that would look bad. So we're going to go ahead and just cut the whole strip for the clutch arm to clear. And then, once that clears, because you can see when I pull it, see how that's moving it? So what we want to do is actually go ahead and cut around it so that, this will actually pull. But besides that, the air filter curves around pretty nice. And when this is painted the same color as the whole bike, it's going to look really sweet. Okay, so after making our new and improved pattern, we went ahead and raised it about 1/2 inch, and we made clearance for the clutch. Now we just went ahead and traced it onto the sheet steel, and now we're going to cut it out. You can see I'm starting to fit it up here. I noticed a few things. You can see that this is hitting here. So what I'm going to have to do if I wanted to bolt it up to the tank cover is I'm actually going to have to go ahead and bend this part out, obviously not on this panel but on the other one that I'm making for this bike, and get that to fit properly. The line down here works pretty good, and I can design it so that it sits more upright, and I can adjust the graphics if necessary. Okay, so now I'm going to be using this electric tin snip, and we're just going to cut along the line. And just keep in mind that this blade here, when you line it up with your line, it's going to cut whatever is coming off on this side. So let's see how we do. I'm just going to line it up, and I'm going to hold it with one hand, give it a shot. And I just want to keep it off the bench so that it will not cut everything. And now, just going to move it out a little bit more. Give her another shot. Start slow. And as you get going, crank it up. And I just got to keep moving it as I go. That's just the panel moving. Just keep moving it. And you can see now that we're at that corner. I'm just trying to get it out. It's kind of stuck. There we go. Yep. So you can see that I cut a little bit off the line, and we can always go back and trim that. So I'm kind of glad I cut over instead of under. So what I'm going to do is just kind of get a rough idea. We're just going to start the same way, but remember that's the opposite. So I'm just going to get the tape measure out of the way. Just kind of hold it kind of like this. And then as I get closer, I'll adjust. Starting to get closer now, so now we can get more precise on where we're going to cut. Come in. And you can see with that there, again, went over the line a little bit. And now, as we pull that out, it's looking pretty good so far. As we're doing our second panel, a lot of things are fitting pretty good, but we do notice on account of our tank covers a little bit, lopsided towards this way. We're going to raise it just a smidge higher. That way it will, work out the same way. And then down here, we're probably going to keep it the same. The wheel works out pretty good. For our air cleaner, we're going to make this more straight because this one's just a little curved, and that was something I did a long time ago, so we're just going to make it more straighter. But overall, it's going to fit really good. Okay, so we're going to be doing the same thing as last time. We're going to be cutting this straight edge here and just work our way around. Again, got to be careful because of cutting our last one. There's a sharp edge, so I'm just going to line it up and start cutting. Again, I just want to be careful. And as I get closer to the line, I'm just going to get ready to line it up and start cutting. Make sure to pull the metal. You're going to speed it up as you go. That was just because I got too close to my bench. You always want to keep it off so that you can kind of, pull the metal as you go. Again, just keep working at it. Okay, so as you can see, we went ahead and just cut that line off. Again, we can always go back and trim it if necessary or grind it. So now, we're just going to go ahead and make sure you don't pull the trigger at all. You can see we got that piece off. So I think the next one that we're going to work on is this guy here. Now, in my logic, I think the easiest way to do this one would be kind of coming at this angle opposed to this because you don't have as much, room to hold your hand on. So we're going to try on this straight edge. And then I'll get my dad to cut out these spots because they're just way harder to do. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just line it up. Always remember that the bigger side is going on the outside. Just keep that in mind as you do the process. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold the metal. Again, just kind of start at an angle because you're going to come in at that spot. Right? So don't be afraid to readjust. You can always go back and adjust. So just be careful as you get close to the end, because you're putting a lot of pressure on the metal. As you can see, again, probably could have cut a little bit closer, but, it's first time for everything. So I think that's pretty good. Again, we can always go back, and then we'll just cut these parts out. Alrighty guys, so what we're going to go ahead and do now with this body panel is we're going to use a fine file. And you can use this to go ahead and just smoothen out the edges of this body panel. You can see I'm just going to go along here on the edge, and I'm just going to, smoothen out the edges, get it nice and smooth so that, it's safer on the bike when I'm working on something. I mean, I'm hoping I don't have to work on something, but let's say I do, I'm going to have that ability to not get cut, which is not fun. So we're just going to go ahead and file this smooth. And after this, we're going to prep it for paint. We'll paint this guy blue in the same color as the frame over there. And then after we do that, we're going to go ahead and lay the vinyl on this thing and get the graphics on. But I'm going to continue filing, and I'll just show you how I do that. Again, very easy to do. Doesn't take much time. It's definitely worth doing. So, yeah. Keep in mind which way your panel goes on. Sometimes you can put it the wrong way, and then you'll wonder why it doesn't fit. I always mark them left or right, or I can just remember. Whatever the case may be, just make sure that you're actually keeping track on what goes where, especially if you're making multiple. So, after you get that filed, it's going to look something like this, nice and smooth all the way around, and that's how you file it. And guys, just a quick clip of the body panels and how they're coming along. I went ahead and filed both of them, and they're starting to look like these guys here. Now, we did went ahead and made some improvements. You can see that edge is a lot straighter than that one, and you can see that the carburetor cutouts are the same on both, and they're looking pretty good so far. Let's get them painted. Okay, so as you can see there, I just went ahead and applied some grease and wax remover, and now I'm going to go ahead and get a shop towel or microfiber, whatever you have, and just wipe down the metal surface. That way, when we go ahead and paint this, guys, it's not going to, have any imperfections and, cause a bad finish on your paintwork. So once we go ahead and do this, after that, we're going to paint, and then we'll get the graphics on. Okay, so now we have paint. Now you can see I'm going to be using this Duplicolor engine paint. Now there's a few things about this engine paint that I want you guys to know if you're using it. So the first thing about this can of paint is that this stuff here is really runny. I don't know if they didn't put a lot of hardener in the mix. All I know is that it's not very consistent. So I'm going to do probably 5 to 6 light coats. I know it sounds like a lot, but that's going to have to go with my situation due to the fact that it's a runny paint. Some people use primer. I've done that in the past with my body panels, but I'm just going to stick with this paint because I know it bonds to bare metal pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and paint it with Duplicolor, and I'm probably going to do 4 light coats because most of it's going to be covered by vinyl anyways. But let's just see how we do. Very light coats, you don't have to go crazy with it. And I just want to mention you got to cover anything because this overspray will stay in the air and could get on the bike, so just got to keep it in mind. Especially if you're working outside, stay away from cars or your house. But we'll just give that a light coat, and I'll catch you guys back when we have the second coat on. Alright, so here's how the second coat of paint turned out on the body panels, and I think they're looking pretty decent. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry for 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply a third and final coat. Just keep in mind that I'm probably going to put the vinyl on tomorrow, just because these body panels need time to cure, and the last thing I want to do is put vinyl on that fresh paint and peel it up. So we're going to let it cure. So the first question I get a lot of the time is, are these holes safe? And the answer is yes, because a lot of the mountain bikes, which I'll show you in a second, have holes in the frame from factory. So you can see in my Rally mountain bike frame, there's 2 bottle cage bolts, and there's one up here for the rack. And basically what that determines is that bicycles come with factory with holes drilled in the frame. And mind you, this is a mountain bike, and it's not going to be a motorized bike. But the point I'm trying to make is that, drilling holes in your frame doesn't hurt anything. Okay, so here's how the first body panel turned out. You can see I just did the orange vinyl at the top and the white vinyl at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and just lay a FCR sticker on that to make it look really cool. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and record the process of making the second one.
Keegan really brings in the aesthetics and the styling of these various classic builds into the motorized bicycle world. I love how he adapts and figures it out just with basic tools. You guys can do it too. Hey Keegan, thank you so much for showing us how you build your panels and how you think of aesthetics in the motorized bicycle world. I'm excited for you guys that are watching this that you could take this and run with it. Take that idea and run with it. And don't be afraid to reach out to Keegan in our Facebook group, and to make sure and go watch his YouTube channel. He has videos where he's pumping them out constantly, day after day. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. Let's roll.